Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is From the Depths, and we are back in the campaign on our starter fort and just working on a few bits and pieces. You can see we're quite happily scanning the area looking for any new enemies coming towards us. And just at this moment, what have we got running through? Right, well, I have done a little bit of work. I've moved the engines from Ruger's nice efficient engines over in this area to a couple of engines I've built up which are no way efficient really in many ways. They're designed for a particular purpose. If I just bring up my menu, we have, this is my general, what I call my diesel engine. It's quite efficient, 341 power per unit of fuel, and with the ramp up timings I've set on here, which we'll look into at a different time, it basically does most of the power delivery at fairly fuel efficient levels. So at the moment it's doing a 239 power usage. I then have a higher different design which is just for when I need a lot of power, and at the moment this is not running, or it's running at just 66. You can see it's got a very high 2000 delivery, but it's very high fuel usage, so that only cuts in if we need the extra power. So that I have moved up there, increased my fuel production a little bit. We seem to be alright. Our gas is a little high but not too bad, but we're producing fuel quite nicely. We've, as you can see, got our building area here. There's a merchant schooner just passing by. And I have brought into the campaign some of the ships we were working on in the designer. And this particular one is a slightly different ship in that it's just a rework of the schooner with some armaments. So I've just basically armed the schooner with some cram cannons and some normal cannons, just to act as a little mini frigate. A couple of other ships I have brought in. Obviously we've got the Minotaur, which, as someone pointed out, I did spell incorrectly. So we've got the Minotaur in here, is our new flagship of the home fleet. This is the armed schooner, so this acts as our frigate. As you can see, there's a whole load of guns on there. Not that powerful, but quite good. And I've also built, this is a square-rigged, sort of typical ship that was ironclad, with 3 decks of guns, with a 3-gauge cram cannon on the bottom, a faster firing single gauge in the mid deck, and some standard large simple cannons on the top deck, just to have a bit of fun. Now, as you can see, I've put the square sails on spin blocks, and it does sail around, although you still need some of the round sails for it to go into the wind, and it's not very fast at all. It has problems going up into the wind, and it's constantly tacking around, but they're a interesting fleet, and I've just brought it in here as an example and just as a bit of fun. It's possibly going to die to the first ship it comes across, but it shows how lots of guns like this is not really effective, and why the Minotaur over here replaced it. So anyway, we have moved that forward. So what is the plan for this episode? I'm not going to go through the engines here. I have moved them, but I'm not going to really go through them at this stage. They're not a brilliant design. They were just a quick design to get things moving. So we're going to build up the Atlas, and the schooner over there has decided to crash into the island, which is not good. We'll just sort that out in a second. But the plan at the moment, if we go to the map, is to try and find out and take over some areas of the Deep Water Guard. So we want a new area, and just to push into this square over here and take over any of the enemies. So we're going to use our Atlases and our home fleet. Well, primarily actually we're going to use our ribs, because the ribs are a little faster. The ribs in general have a slightly better speed, not much, but the home fleet is very slow, because some of those sailing ships have only got a speed of 4, whereas the ribs, well, it's actually showing a speed of 5. So we're going to send them ahead, on a little bit of a scouting mission. Now our schooner will just take out of play at this moment because it's not needed at this second to go and collect resources, etc. So that's okay to leave out of play just for the moment. Although I need to check one thing, and in that it doesn't seem to have much resources at this moment, although we'll check on the resource containers on there. And then once this is found, so we'll start moving up the home fleet up as well. So we'll move that up into this area. Now one thing is, because we've got a lot of sailing ships, we want to make sure that any ships we come into will be from we're upwind of them. So the wind is generally at this moment, let's see, sort of southerly, I think, by looks of it. If I find the wind direction, yeah, that looks around southerly. So we want to be coming in from the south going north, but we'd have to check that. I'm not sure if that changes each time. But let's take these ones out of play just for the moment anyway, because they don't need to be in play. There we go. And we'll allow the Atlas, this last Atlas here, to build up, and then we will see what our ribs have found for us to attack. So back in a little while when that is ready. And our starter ribs have, on the way to the Deepwater Guard area, have come across a little fleet. Now this could be interesting and or problematic, in that our adversaries are the Atlas, which is an aerial vehicle, which admittedly it's only a dirigible, which we haven't actually thought about making yet. So maybe Zeppelins is in our near future. But it's blockaded them, and yes, we need to prepare for battle. So we are going to bring in our own forces. We'll see how they will do. Some of them have got autocannons, and their weapons will fire upwards, 45 degrees up. So hopefully they will still be usable against the Atlases. So what we'll do though is we're going to bring some of the starting ribs in first. Now size of it, we're going to have the advantage here. So what we're going to do is bring in for the ribs initially. We'll bring them in. Then I think we'll bring in our Vanguard is going to be the very last thing, because that has got nothing to go against aerial targets really at all. So we'll bring in our Atlases have. So we're bringing our Marauders and Atlas. Now I think, yeah, that will be a good starting group for us, I think. Now the ribs have actually got some missiles, so hopefully they will be able to get through this battle. Now if it comes to it, I could increase our block count. We're only at 10,000 at the moment, and the battles I think we'll be going against will be a bit bigger. So if I bring my blocks up, that will mean that they start with a few more. But what would I need to do to get the Atlas in at the start? Okay, let's see, bring it down a little bit. Oh, actually, we only need a little bit more to bring up the second Atlas in as well. I'm going to set it at 15,000. I think 15,000 is most probably a good starting value anyway. There we go. I think the size of our battles should be quite interesting at that way. Nice big battles. Much more interesting. So, fingers crossed, this should be good for us. Interface off. Right, let's make sure first of all, before I do that, make sure I'm not controlling any weapons. So, what do we have here? We've got our Marauders and the Atlases are making their way in, and we've got the ribs here who have started firing the missiles and their small cannons, which is useful, and we have already actually taken out the Atlas. So those missiles on the starter ribs were just enough, by the looks of it, just to take out, help take out the Atlas. So the Atlas is, oh, they've put some props on it now. So there's some upward facing props. I think are they spinner based? Yeah, by the looks of it. I am thinking actually that maybe I do need to look at our own little early air forces. Maybe look at a dirigible for two reasons. One is as we need that as our spotter. So in other words, put a radar on it so that it can spot things at distance, so it becomes our early warning radar, but also put some bombs and a few cannons on it, basically. Now, Zeppelins as such, there was non-rigid balloons available since the early 1800s. They were used for spotting and artillery spotting, etc. But the actual Zeppelin style of rigid airship, although designed in the late 1800s, wasn't really built until the early 1900s. When Zeppelin did get some financing finally to build some of the ships. Obviously, soon after that, normal ships did take over and start building it. But one of the problems with the dirigible, and we're doing quite nicely in this battle, is it needed some good engines to propel it, which the steam engines weren't initially any good at. So I think we are getting some shots in from, no, I think this is mainly been taken out by the ribs. Now they're taking some time to do this, but at least they are doing it. Now, are our sailing ships getting close? This is our frigate. He's in close, and it looks like the Minotaur's actually going broadside already. Is he gone broadside? He's gone broadside, ready for a firing solution by the looks of it, which is interesting. We'll see what is the range to to it. Okay, let's do it this way. If I go here, find him, there he is, and then range to the Minotaur is 1400. Well, yeah, I think it was about the right range. He's not fired yet, but theoretically he is in his broadside configuration. So let's just have a quick look at any issues here. We've got ammo, and we've got that there, and let's just make sure I haven't done anything silly. Well, I think it's purely an accuracy element in that at this range it can't be accurate enough against the target. But let's have a look over here at our frigate, which has got in close enough to give a good broadside, and it's firing with its cram cannons and the normal cannons, and we've got missiles coming in. So you can see the cannons that are on this frigate, they're not the best in the world. They're roughly based upon still just they're not using HE, they're still based upon almost like a shot basis, where it's trying to just pound away at the target with multiple guns. One of the biggest changes was when they started putting HE into the cannons. Looks like our Atlas is having a turnaround, coming back to the broadside, and there we go, fires again, incoming rounds. Nice. Have we got some? Oh, I think that was that might be. I think our Minotaur is now firing. So we've got the Minotaur now coming in with his big HE shells. Oh, a few misses there, but he did get taken out, and that's both of them done. Okay, so that's reasonable. Let's have a look what happened. As far as damage goes, some ribs took a bit of damage, but that's not unexpected. To be frankly honest, the ribs are somewhat weak as such, and we just need to ensure that all of these also repair up any damage they may have and take them out of play as well. Okay, so that was a nice little battle against showed the abilities of the various ships. But now we need to push on a little further. So while the ribs do sort themselves out and get back into some semblance of order, and the same with the home fleet, they will make their way to the necessary positions. Now hopefully they'll remember where they were supposed to be, so when they get to the right places, they will be in the correct formation, which is generally as the Atlas is in front to the side or slightly. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the ribs in a little further, because I believe the Deepwater Guard's next area is over in this sort of zone. So let's get the ribs moving forward, and I will bring you back once we have a target. And we have now come across another fleet. Now this should be a little bit more interesting battle. We've got another little Deepwater Guard unit coming in, and this time it is 3 Marauders, which should be a good little fight for our home fleet actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring them in just to the south, so hopefully they'll get to come in upwind of them. And we've also put some supplies onto our schooner, so our schooner is now coming into the area because it will supply our ships to repair any battle damage that they're getting, because they're a little low on the natural. Now they'll get some from the battle here, but we obviously need a fair bit of resources if possible from the resource zone here, so we'll be bringing those in as well. Let me just check to make sure that we are taking from Home Sweet Home, yeah, and we'll give to the home fleet. Actually I don't need to have that, we're just going to do the take from there, that's fine. And we'll make sure the easiest way I've done micromanage this rather than using the proper system at this second, just to get this together as much as it can to us. There we go, that's now given, I think, us as much as we can handle. Yes, that's a little bit better, so we've got lots of the natural. Now what we'll do is we'll bring that over into the battle zone over here to supply these troops. Now for some reason it's got a very high speed, that schooner. Obviously something happened when it was being built or such like, but let's not worry about that for the moment. So bear with me, let me just get into the correct view. Right, we'll see about this little battle here. So if we go into battle here, our ribs are going to be one of the forces, and then we will bring in our home fleet as our second force. Now on this we'll bring in all of our ships to begin with, including the Vanguard, so they're going to be our primary ships that are going in here. So that Minotaur, Atlas, and also the Vanguard, they're our primary ships, and then the ribs all afterwards. Now it looks like at the start what we're going to get, because they actually have the point advantage here, even with the 15,000, so it looks like we'll put a few ribs in here just to get some early shots in. So I put 4 ribs in, and then if things don't go right, we've got the Vanguard can come in, and eventually but it'll take a while to get into range, and then the rest of the ribs. So okay, this could be interesting. With all those Vanguards, they may get 2 or 3. Actually, in fact, there's more than the Vanguard. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Well, they've also got another Atlas and another Marauder, so we're actually up against 4 Marauders and an Atlas. Okay, right, I'm not expecting the ribs to survive too much here, but let's see how we do in the battle. Beginning the battle. Okay, off all the weapons, interface off. So we're on the Minotaur at the moment, and the Atlases have joined the battle. We'll go and have a look to see what our ribs are doing. We've got a couple of ribs coming in there. Let me just stop this moving. So we are firing in. Hopefully we'll take out that Atlas first. We've got a few missiles coming in. They seem to be doing a reasonable job against the Atlas, which is good. We've got one Marauder coming in. He's taking a bit of damage. This is the new design of Marauder. He's got this really big gun on the front, which, if he does get a shot in us, will be a bit dangerous. And he is shooting. It's got a long range, but is not very accurate, to say the least. Got a little stutter, so apologies for that. Oh, we have incoming shots. Who is he firing at? Is it the Marauder? He is firing at the Marauder. That's our Minotaur, and a nice hit. One hit on the Minotaur. You know, the Minotaur's guns are not hyper accurate, but they've got a good, well, that was 1100, 1200 range. I think he got a hit just under the waterline there, maybe. The secondary guns aren't firing yet. We've only got the primary guns firing at this second. But they're still there. They're hitting. They're doing a bit of damage. Not as much as the first salvo. The option is always to reduce their firing rate and make them hit a little harder, or just lots of hits. And I'm sticking with lots of hit. Rate of fire, I think, is more important than necessarily the power of a single shot in this case. And our frigates are firing in as well now. Our frigates have gone broadside. This is quite an interesting, it's all like an old style battle with all the sailing ships. So the accuracy of the crown cannons is known not to be that accurate a weapon. Just going to try something to see if I can get rid of a bit of this stutter. Okay, now I just tried to change some of the block settings, but couldn't quite get rid of this stutter. There's obviously some item that's being used. It could be the cannons, etc. I did have problems originally with lasers, but I took them off. But it could be something like the auto cannons or something on these ships. Sometimes I get it when they've got these lines, they suddenly have a bit of a problem on occasion. But okay, we've still got nice shots coming in. Broadsides coming in. Luckily the Minotaur is firing over the top of our two frigates, but they are quite happily taking out the Marauder. It's a little slow, it's not a one-shot kill, but it's doing the job. So okay, we will it's obviously working. We'll see what happens when some more Marauders come into the battle, as our Atlases do a quick attack and come around from the other flank. Our how is our Minotaur doing over here? Oh, he's gone off. He's gone off. Off piste, so to speak. Needs to come back into the broadside. Hopefully, he'll reacquaint himself soon. We can see the frigates have now turned around. Potentially they're going after that Atlas. Oh, there's another Marauder coming. Okay. Our Minotaur is just out of range. Now, it's good having the long range just to go through. We haven't seen the Vanguard come in yet, but one of the bits about the old Vanguard style of ship was they were designed really for close range battles. You know, their guns were, and even the one I have built, his guns are only really effective at about 500 meters or so. Effectively, where the Atlases are now, sort of thing, that's where your line of battle would have been. Whereas the more powerful weapons of something like the Minotaur and the Ironclads had that longer range, and that was the way that gun development started going. I'm talking about like I am winning my design, but it's really. I'm really interested. I really do find how ships and guns developed in the late 1800s, early 1900s. It's a very interesting history. Oh, there's a big shot gone in. Oh, big shot went in against the one of the Atlases here and took out a good portion of the rear of that one. That's the effect of a big gun, unfortunately. That had a big effect on us. Hopefully he will repair a little bit from that. What we need is our Minotaur to actually come in. He seems to be deciding to go all the way around our Minotaur. Hopefully he is making his way in slowly. And that's another Atlas Atlas Marauder. That's another Marauder has bit the dust, and we've got another one coming in. Oop, leveled up. And I am in the range of the Minotaur. He's firing his guns quite nicely. They're doing a reasonable amount of damage. As long as the target isn't moving too fast. If the target moves too fast, then it does have a problem, or too erratically, then obviously these cram cannons will have a problem targeting him. But they're doing okay at the moment. And the frigates, I think they did get rid of that Atlas. Yes, they did take the Atlas out on their own. It was a nice little bit of a nice scene of broadside tactics, which is excellent. Excellent. Those are nice shots from the big guns. Whoa, missile went straight past. It's obviously a damaged missile from the starter rib over there. The starter ribs have actually done quite well. When they're in a little group like this and not getting picked on, they've actually fared reasonably as little harassment ships. So I think we might build on that actually and make a slightly better version. Something else as a little harassment ship. I've got something from a suggestion from one of the comments. I've got an idea I think what would be good for them as a new vessel potentially. And is just about done. Yeah, we seem to be getting into the guts at the moment now, so it's going to be ammo blocks and things like that firing in any time soon. And some Minotaur just misses with those shots. One did get in. We still haven't seen the Vanguard coming. I think on the next battle, on the next episode, we will get the Vanguard in just to see what an old style ship fights like. It'll be fun to watch. And that's it. The Marauder has gone. That should be it for the enemy as well. I'm guessing. Oh no, we have another one. Oh. Well, the will it never cease, but he's a bit close here. But that's good and bad. Oh. Friendly fire. Blue on blue. And he's in range of all of these cannons. So that's where there's a proper broadside coming in. From both sides though. Also, he's got the tail on. Tail on. Crossing the T. Took a bit of damage there, but I think he gave some damage out at the same time. And we still have some big shots coming in from the Minotaur, and they are still, when they're hitting, they're doing some good damage. I think the next version of Minotaur, or whatever will be the next ship, will have some slightly better weaponry, I think. We're going to go even bigger at some point, maybe. The next... he's doing okay at the moment, so we'll see. And finally, that was a nice battle finish there. We managed to getting close with some of the ships. Did take a bit of damage, but there was a nice little finish to it. Right, we'll just see how everything worked out. 1 rib damage, that's fine. We'll bring them all out of play and let them repair themselves. Same with the other ships. One of the Atlases did take a little bit of damage, but nothing significant. They're all repairing them. Will all repair themselves. That's fine. So that was a nice little battle there. They should get some. We'll set the Schooner to give all of its items out to everybody that gets close, and repair anybody. So that will be good for it. So if we go over to here, effectively, that should give all of its resources to everybody else so they can repair themselves. Okay, right, so that's the end of this particular force. You can see, there we go, that's all those items go there. Now hopefully he should make his way back into the forces so that he can repair. I think his rudder must have got damaged. We'll continue our push forward with our forces up towards this landmass over here, and see what's the other side of it, so that we can take out the, well, hopefully the Deep Waters Guards base over here, and see what can be done, or at least scout out the situation before we have to design the next ship. So until next time, please click the like button as always. Hopefully if you've got any suggestions, please leave them as always in the comments below. I don't know if you will see Scuttlebot any longer after this. We may be having to change. It depends what happens with the patch. Poor old Scuttlebot here will be left alone. We will be going to Rambot. So no more Mr. Propellerhead anywhere. Ah, dear. It's been nice. It's been nice knowing him. You know, he's done quite well. You know, he's done good, sterling service for us. But you know, with all of his equipment, he's really tried to do the best he can for us. But it may be the last time we see him. So until next time, keep playing, and above all, have fun.